Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the mind-bending world of optical illusions. Get ready to have your brain tricked and your eyes deceived. We're talking about those crazy images that make you question everything you thought you knew about reality. We've got some of the most insane illusions lined up for you today, so buckle up and get ready for a wild ride. So, before we jump into these crazy illusions, let's break down what's actually going on inside your brain when you look at them. Basically, your brain is constantly trying to make sense of the world around you, using information from your eyes. But sometimes, the information your eyes send to your brain is kind of like a prank. The way light bounces off objects, the angles and perspectives, even the colors around an image, can all mess with your brain's interpretation. Think of it like a magic trick, but instead of a magician, it's your own brain playing tricks on you. All right, let's kick things off with a classic, the spinning dancer. Check this out. You see this silhouette of a dancer? She's spinning, right? But which way? Some of you might see her spinning clockwise, while others see her going counterclockwise. And the crazy thing is, both answers can be right. It all depends on how your brain interprets the image. Try focusing on different parts of the dancer, like her feet or her head. You might notice that the direction she spins seems to change. It's like your brain is flipping a switch, going back and forth between two different realities. This illusion messes with our kinetic depth perception, which means our brain uses movement to figure out if something is three-dimensional. Get ready to have your mind blown, because this next illusion is going to mess with your perception of color. It's one of those things that makes you question everything you thought you knew about how you see the world. We're talking about the checker shadow illusion, and it's a real doozy. This illusion has baffled people for years and continues to be a favorite among those who love optical tricks. So you see this image of a checkerboard with a cylinder casting a shadow across it. At first glance, it looks pretty straightforward, right? Just a simple checkerboard with some light and shadow play. Take a look at the square labeled A and the square labeled B. Focus on them for a moment and really take in their colors. They look like totally different shades of gray, right? One seems much darker than the other, almost like they're from different parts of the spectrum. But here's the kicker, they're actually the same exact color. It's hard to believe, but it's true. This is where the magic of the illusion really hits you. I know, it sounds crazy, but it's true. Your eyes are not deceiving you. It's your brain that's playing tricks on you. If you don't believe me, try covering up the surrounding squares with your fingers. See? They're identical. This simple trick can help you see through the illusion. So, how does this even happen? Why do our brains get so easily fooled by something that seems so obvious once you know the trick? Well, our brains are constantly trying to figure out the colors of objects, even when they're in shadow. It's a process called color constancy, and it's usually very helpful. The squares around A are darker, so our brains assume that A must be lighter to compensate. It's an automatic adjustment that happens without us even realizing it. And the squares around B are lighter, so our brains assume that B must be darker. This contrast effect is what leads us to see the two squares as different shades. This illusion proves just how easily our brains can be tricked by context. It's a fascinating reminder of the complexities of our visual perception and how much we rely on context to interpret the world around us. Alright guys, get ready to enter a world where the laws of physics don't apply. This is not your ordinary room, it's a place where your senses are about to be tricked in the most fascinating way. We're talking about the Ames room, and it's about to get weird. This room is a masterclass in optical illusions designed to boggle your mind. Imagine stepping into a room that looks totally normal at first glance. You might think it's just another room, but don't be fooled by its ordinary appearance. But then, as you move from one side of the room to the other, something strange happens. You start shrinking, or are you growing? It's hard to tell because your brain is being tricked by the room's clever design. The Ames room is a specially designed room that plays with perspective and depth perception. It's a brilliant example of how our brains can be easily fooled by visual cues. It's shaped like a trapezoid, with one corner much farther away than the other. This unique shape is the key to the illusion, but when you look at it head-on, it just looks like a regular rectangular room. This is where the magic happens. Your eyes are deceived by the room's layout. The trick is in the windows and the floor tiles, which are all distorted to create the illusion of depth. These elements work together to make the room appear normal while hiding its true shape. So when you walk from the side with the closer corner to the side with the farther corner, your brain thinks you're changing size. It's a mind-bending experience that shows just how easily our perception can be manipulated. This next illusion proves that our brains are masters of filling in the blanks even when there's nothing there to fill. We're talking about the Kanizsa triangle, and it's a real head-scratcher. Take a look at this image. What do you see? You probably see a white triangle, right? But here's the thing. There's no actual triangle there. It's just empty space. Our brains are hardwired to look for patterns and shapes, and sometimes they get a little carried away. The Kanizsa triangle shows just how powerful our subconscious minds can be in shaping our perception of the world. All right, get ready for a classic illusion that's been messing with people for over a century. The Müller-Lyer illusion. You see these two lines? One has arrows pointing inwards and the other has arrows pointing outwards. Which line looks longer? Most people would say the line with the outward pointing arrows looks longer, but guess what? They're the same length. I know, it's hard to believe, but it's true. You can even measure them yourself, if you don't believe me. The outward pointing arrows make the line look like it's extending towards us, while the inward pointing arrows make it look like it's receding into the distance. Our brains are just playing tricks on us again. This next illusion proves that our perception of size is easily influenced by its surroundings. It's called the Ebbinghaus illusion, and it's a real mind-bender. You see these two orange circles? They're the same size, believe it or not. But the one on the left is surrounded by larger circles, while the one on the right is surrounded by smaller circles. Because of this difference in context, the circle on the left looks smaller than the circle on the right. This illusion shows that our brains don't just see things in isolation, they take the whole context into account. Our brains are constantly comparing and contrasting everything we see. Get ready to step into a world of impossible geometry with the Penrose stairs, also known as the impossible staircase. Imagine climbing a set of stairs, but no matter how many steps you climb, you always end up back where you started. That's the basic idea behind the Penrose stairs, a mind-bending illusion that seems to defy the laws of physics. This illusion was created by mathematicians Lionel Penrose and his son Roger Penrose, and it's a prime example of what's called an impossible object. It's a two-dimensional drawing that creates the illusion of a three-dimensional object that couldn't exist in the real world. Our brains try to make sense of this impossible structure, but it just leads to a never-ending cycle of confusion. This next illusion is a classic example of how our perception can shift depending on what we focus on. It's called the Rubin vase, but it's also known as the figure ground illusion. Take a look at this image. What do you see? Do you see a vase, or do you see two faces looking at each other? The answer is both. The Rubin vase is a clever illusion that plays with the way our brains perceive foreground and background. It's like our brains are constantly flipping between two different interpretations of the same image. Get ready for a final dose of impossible geometry with the impossible trident, also known as the blivet or the devil's tuning fork. This perplexing figure has fascinated and puzzled people for decades. This mind-bending illusion features an object that seems to have three cylindrical prongs at one end, but then mysteriously transforms into two rectangular prongs at the other end. The transition is so smooth that it defies logic. The transition between the two is so seamless that it's hard to pinpoint where one ends and the other begins. This seamlessness is what makes the illusion so captivating. The impossible trident is another example of an impossible object, a category of optical illusions that challenge our understanding of space and form. A two-dimensional drawing that tricks our brains into seeing a three-dimensional object that couldn't exist in reality. These drawings play with our visual perception in fascinating ways. The illusion works by playing with our perception of depth and perspective. It manipulates the way we interpret visual cues. As your eyes move along the object, you find yourself questioning what you see. Your brain struggles to reconcile the conflicting information. This struggle is what makes the impossible trident so intriguing and memorable. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed having your brain tricked, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more mind-bending content. We've explored some of the most amazing optical illusions out there, from the classic spinning dancer to the mind-boggling impossible trident. We've seen how these illusions exploit the quirks in our visual perception, making us question what we see and how we see it. See you next time.